Good morning and welcome to the Big Football Show podcast. I am BA. I'm here with James Martin and Jack Hirsch. Hope you gentlemen are having a fine moment. It is January the 11th of 2026. It's our second show of the year. And okay, so we got another guest just popped in. You know, anyway, and also Sonia, who magically popped up here. I hope you gentlemen and ladies are doing fine this morning. We're going to kind of get right into the NFL playoffs of last night because that's pretty fresh on everybody's minds. We had the Rams and the Panthers playing, and then we had the Bears and the Packers playing. Both games, very good games. Both games were very good games. Down to the wire, I don't know what you guys thought. I thought those were exciting. They were exciting playoff games to me. I haven't seen exciting playoff football. I don't know what it is. It seems like these teams get into this mode now where they're going to start actually playing the way they're supposed to be playing the regular season. They start playing good in the playoffs. I don't understand that. But anyway, so we're going to start off with the Panthers-Rams game. And what's up, Marcus? How you doing?
Hey, brother. Good morning. You up early. It's my brother, guys.
So the Panthers and the Rams, the Carolina Panthers were there to, the Rams came down there to avenge the loss they had earlier in the season to the Panthers, where Matthew Stafford had like 3 turnovers. That was really the deciding factor in that game. This time the Rams came down there, got off to an early start. Panthers fought back. It really came down to the last drive of the game. Hey, I want to tell you something. Jalen Coker, that dude he played a great game. That dude was all over the place. They could not stop Jalen Coker. Dude had 134 yards on 9 receptions and a touchdown, and one of the touchdowns to go ahead in that game. But what it came down to is, they got fortunate. Carolina got fortunate last time where they stripped the ball from Stafford on their last drive of the game. This time it didn't work out that way. Stafford was 7 of 8. The only incompletion he had was a Devontae Adams drop. So he was being surgical moving down the field. You can't let Stafford have the ball with that much time left in the game, and you got to either come up with a fumble, a turnover like they did last time, or that's over pretty much. James, what was your thoughts about that game?
I got to give kudos to Carolina. All year, I didn't have them pegged. I'll be honest with you, to even be this far to where they were, and they showed themselves. Mind you, the division of the NFC South was just. It was competitive amongst each other, but because all of them ended up 3-3 within the division. But overall, I mean, the record that won the division was 8-9. So it's not a lot to say much about that. But from where Carolina was last year and the year before that, and to where they are now, you got to give them praise for what they've done and the success that they've had in this time. And Canales, I got to give him credit as a head coach. A lot of people gave Bryce Young a lot of flack being the first overall pick. I've seen a lot of great things come out of him, and I knew in coming out of Alabama that he was going to be good. I just thought that the last couple of years, I'm like, okay, he's not showing that same guy, but that moxie is there, and that's what I've mentioned on Friday night, that he's got to come out and play, and he did play. I know he threw an interception, but man, Ted, like you said, Jalen Coker and Tedero McMillan were there for him. Who I was disappointed in, I was disappointed in the run game. I was disappointed in the run game of Carolina, and I thought that they would give a little bit more, and I thought that would be the deciding factor to win this game again for them. And they came close. That last touchdown, like you said, B, they left too much. You get left a little bit too much time for Matthew Stafford to get out there. And mind you, Matthew Stafford threw that one touchdown to Parkinson, man, in 19-yard touchdown pass. I expected that. But you got 38 seconds left on the clock, and we talked about this. I said, this is what I'm expecting from Bryce Young, to come out and say, I need 3 points, 38 seconds, get down the field. 4 incompletions is unacceptable. I know the last guy dropped the ball. That was Jimmy Horn. But that would have been 7 seconds left. I don't even think they would even got down the field to even get down there. But with that said, again, shout out to Matthew Stafford and their team. They're going to move on. But congratulations to Carolina for having a good season. I mean, to get into this point, you hadn't been to the playoffs since
10
when?
years. 10 years.
2017.
10 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, they're not 10. They got there in 2017. They just didn't. Everybody seems to forget. I remember that year. All 3 teams. There's 3 teams from the NFC South that got into the playoffs in 2017, and that was the Saints, Atlanta, and Carolina. And the Saints played Carolina that year. But with that said, I just think that they could have. They had an opportunity here. They played a great game. There was no 10.5 spread there, and they could have won the game. But hats off to them. It was a great game to watch. I look forward to seeing the next game.
James, who you got? What's going on with you? How you felt about the game?
Jack, you mean? I thought you just said James.
Jack, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Jack,
I thought James. I know James likes to double dip, but come on, you know. I'm saying, I like to look at it this way. All the teams in the NFL except one are going to be disappointed at the end of the season because all of them get eliminated. Even the losing team of the Super Bowl gets eliminated and they're going to be disappointed. So I like to look at it, which franchise needed to win the game more. And the Ram franchise needed to win the game a little more. They were established. If the Rams lost, the season would have been a failure. Panthers winning, they take something out. The Panthers even losing, they take something out of this season because it's a building block, okay? They have something to look forward to next year. Their record this year, 8-9, was, that was about to be expected. And that was a step forward, which was okay. And they kind of backed into a playoff berth, which is fine. Someone has to be in the playoffs. And they came up with a really strong effort. The part about leaving too much time on the clock, give me a break. What are they supposed to do? Not score, not go ahead? You score when you can. You count on your defense. And the Panthers are pretty strong at most positions except the pass rush. They have a really weak pass rush. They're linked to getting Trey Hendrickson next year and paying him big money, which I think would be a mistake. Because he's going to be, around 32 years old. And he's coming off an injury-plagued season at his age. And I don't know what I'd make that investment in Trey Hendrickson. I know that they might reach a bit, but that might be going a bit too far. And it's, and the Panther fans had a home game there. Their team played really well. When they were down 14-0, I thought to myself, wow, I'm glad I didn't pick the Panthers to win. Early in the week, like I said yesterday on the show, I was so tempted to pick the Panthers to beat the Rams, but I didn't have the guts to do it. I was too much of a coward to pick the Panthers. And when the Rams went up 14-0, I was relieved. It looked like an easy Ram game, but the Panthers, they clawed back, fought back, and they got a great running game. As far as Bryce Young goes, the jury is still out to a degree. I always felt he'd be a good quarterback, and I do still feel he's the Panther quarterback of the future. But there's no rush on his status. He's under contract next year. You could franchise him the year after that. So the Panthers have him at least 2 more years to decide. And why do people think they have to make these prima donna players happy? Oh, if I franchise you, you're going to be unhappy. You might hold out. Well, tell the player to hold out. Tell him never to come back. The player has no leverage there. And if he's a true leader, he's going to do what he has to do. He's not going to bail out on the team. And if he does, then he's not your guy of the future anyway. But I'm going to sum up with 38 seconds left. The only thing I didn't like about Bryce Young, he was inept those last 38 seconds. The last ball dropped. They would have been way out of field goal range anyway. They wouldn't have been able to do anything. Don't magnify the last ball being dropped. It would have been insignificant in the end. And they had their timeouts, 38 seconds. And And the wheels came off. I mean, really at that point. But good game by the Panthers. Good effort coming back. I look at it as a successful season overall, and they have something to look forward to next year.
And I will digress to Sonia. What's your opinion about the game, Sonia?
Well, since that's my team, I kind of have mixed emotions, of course. Like every one of you all said, I'm really proud of my team. I definitely didn't see, even though I say it, all the time, hey, we're doing this, we're going to the Super Bowl. The reality of it is I am extremely proud that the team has advanced the way they did. I'm not really thrilled about the 8-9, but hey, we'll take it. That's how you get there. I was feeling the same way. I felt like the defense would have had to basically either force a pick or basically you have to stop Matt Stafford. You can't let him get the first down when he gets that ball back with that much time. But then I was just literally like, I had live streamed like the last minute, not actually watching it, but just listening and I was just like, who are you throwing to? There seemed to be no one there even to throw it to. They needed to get down to the 40-yard line just to get in field goal range. And I felt like we saw him earlier in the game do a very quick hike. Like it was almost a no huddle. And I was like, that's the type of precision, I was looking for it with 38 seconds on the clock. And before I knew it, that time was gone. And so I was, for a moment disappointed because I literally thought once I saw the fight in the team that, hey, this may be, a different team than anyone expected. But to everyone's point, that was 10 years since we had actually been in the solid playoffs. Hadn't been like Jay Train was saying with the three-way tie there in 2017. It always seems to come down to some type of tie in the South. And so the bank had sold out for the first time. I know Jack and I were on a show, and I think this is when Mac was still with us, and Jay Train, you may have been on here too. And we were talking about tickets selling for a cup of coffee. That wasn't the case yesterday.
It was $3 to be exact. We were laughing about it at the time.
Yeah, that's right, Jack. And so to see the bank literally back on in action, and I had looked at those tickets, so they sold for upwards of what was supposed to be sold. It was just a good day. And I like to put a comma on the season. I know everyone's 0-0 once you get eliminated, but I would like to put a comma as far as the performance on the team. Kudos to Jalen Coker, definitely MVP of that game. Had the pleasure of having his dad on an interview with me on Wednesday. Jamal, I'm so appreciative again for him making that time, especially with the playoffs going on. But him and T-Mac, we see why now they are wide receivers 1 and 2. And Xavier Legette, he couldn't catch a cold. I'm just like, sir, they said he rode in there yesterday on his horse. And I'm like, you need to ride $1 right on up out of there and get 50 cents back. So kudos to the Rams for a quick second. There was a video out that Bo Crouch had put out. I can't wait to see the next team take the Rams and do what they need to do with them. But Chuba Hubbard also was a standout player. We didn't see much of Rico Dowdle. It's almost like the Rams had his number. And so the Panthers had to exercise Hubbard in clutch situations, and they came in. And then Bryce got his own touchdown. So big day, wild finish. I'm overall pleased today, even though I'm still have, that little small amount of disappointment. What can you expect when, you get into the playoffs the way you do? We handled ourselves well. So I'm always going to love my Panthers, and congratulations.
You mentioned the running back with the Panthers. They have 2 elite running backs, and can that work splitting the duty between the 2 of them? Because on no other team are they equals. You're not going to have Derrick Henry and someone of his caliber, for example, splitting the duties. So they're going to have to figure that out. The coaching staff in the offseason put more emphasis on one than the other. Or maybe move on from one of them. I don't know.
They've been talking about that. And it's at first, there was almost like a competition as to who was going to take that spot. But so far, they're probably going to make a decision during the off season. I don't know. Rico Dowdle's not 100% healthy, Jack. And so you got to look at that. There's been certain times during the games he's had to come out. You know, he's still playing very injured. I don't know if that's a combination of the time of season it was or what have you. So they're going to have to look at a lot of things in the offseason. I do want to plug in middle finger to Vegas for the 10.5 point spread that you gave us. You guys counted us out. And just like even the announcers were saying yesterday, Greg Olsen was even there, and he was having to be as neutral as he could be. I could hear a lot of things he was saying. He was trying not to even say anything positive about the Panthers because he wanted to make sure he wasn't, biased. But who would have thought that game would have been as close as it would have, unless you really are just one of these people like me, like, nope. And then us three talked Friday, and I was like, nah, it's probably gonna come down to a field goal. And so nowhere near the point spread, but the announcers were like, the way everybody looked at the Panthers was just like a little blurb on the schedule for the Rams to go on. They weren't even thinking about that game. They were more like, okay, so next the Rams take on, but we were like, hey, nope, you're stopping in Charlotte. And by the way, they had been watching the weather all day for severe lightning and a delay of the game. And the rain, there was no drop. I don't know if they had any condensation or not, but there was no rain in that stadium. And so it was the perfect day for football. 60-some degrees, just awesome.
Greg Olsen came up with the line of the day because the punt returners kept bobbling the punts. He said there must be something in the water, like he couldn't figure out what on earth was going on.
Yeah, those punt returns were rough. But shout out to the special teams by the Panthers. Huge block that actually got us back in the game. And so super excited. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for the opportunity.
Richard, just to answer your question, we'll get to that game in just a moment. I wasn't rooting for either one of them. I was hoping for a nuclear strike. But anyway, the point of the matter is here. No, Carolina did a good job. The difference between the two quarterbacks, Bryce has still got a lot of growth he has to do. But a 17-year veteran knows what he's got to do on the last drive. And like I said, he went 7 for 8. And the only reason why he went 7 and 8 is because Davante Adams dropped a pass. Other than that, he was precision down the field. And yeah, you can say that all you want, Jack, about, you only score when you have to, but the defense has to step up and play. And if you're just letting them, if they're just marching their way down the field, it is what it is. It's Matthew Stafford. He's up for MVP this year. I know Sonia is not particularly fond of the Rams, but hey, I've been seeing this for most of those 17 years here in the Lions. The Stafford is just that guy. You just cannot allow him to be that guy and have that football at the end. It's just inevitable most of the time. So, again, shouts out to Carolina, though. They played a heck of a game.
Brian, defenses step up when they have to. Let me remind you.
They had to, Jack.
Wait a second. The Rams played the Eagles in the playoff game. Stafford had the ball in his hands for final possession to win the game. The Eagle defense stepped up. Defenses are expected to step up.
That's what that's what I just said. The Carolina defense had to step up. And on that game, that wasn't on Stafford. That was on the block kicks.
Carolina needs
Stafford got him down there to win the game, but the special teams unit did not, just like Carolina did. They blocked the kick. Their special teams unit's got to be much better.
Carolina's one weakness is the pass rush, and they didn't have it yesterday with any type of consistency. And on that final drive, Stafford had enough time to throw. So that's something Carolina's going to have to address in the offseason. Get a pass rush. I'm not sure whether there'll be anyone in the draft that's significant by the time they draft. But like I said, they're linked to Trey Hendrickson, but I'm not sure that would be a good move.
Well, earlier in the game, there was, I can't pronounce his last name, starts with an E. They had to take him out of that game. Yes. And so that was a missing part that they talked about. And then I don't know if you all remember, but Horn actually had gone down a little bit earlier in the game with a friendly fire collision. And I think he still may have been shook up. He collided with two of the other Panthers and trying to take down, I believe it was Davante Adams, and they all collided head to head. They took him out and checked him. But I'm wondering if, not an excuse, but I'm just saying, remember, he just seemed to be a little off with that catch. He normally is down on the ground with it. We didn't see that. Not that he didn't go for it, but I'm wondering. And then we saw Etienne get hit with it, the ball in the face with the face mask. They just seem to be a little off in that backfield a little bit.
Yep. Well, in the playoffs, I hate to say it. I say this all the time. In the playoffs, the teams rise up to be the cream of the crop.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the Rams will be playing Seattle next because that's what that's what would happen if they.
It all depends. It all depends on whether or not the Eagles win. If the Eagles lose, they play Chicago.
Yep.
But anyway, back to the next game on that docket was Green Bay going to Chicago to face the Chicago Bears. That also was a game of the ages right there. It seemed like Green Bay was in mostly control of that game, and the defense for Chicago really didn't have any answers until like the second half. They started playing really well, and then Ben Johnson's offense was just Ben Johnson's offense. They just started hitting plays in the second half. 25 points in the fourth quarter to come back and beat Green Bay, and I was kind of looking like, wait a minute, where did this team come from? Because they were just shell shocked in the first half. It was bad. I mean, you saw the Chicago fans just going, dang.
Right.
and LaFleur was on the sidelines dapping up everybody. I mean, that was a very good game too. I'm gonna go to you on this, Jack. What did you feel about this game?
The NFL's about finishing games off, and the Packers didn't do it. Everything was going against the Bears. I mean, fumbles they weren't recovering. And I still don't get it with Ben Johnson. You have about 5 minutes left in the second quarter. You're down 14-3, 4th and 4 on your own 32, and you go for it at that point. I'm not second guessing. It's a little early at that point. I could understand if it's late in the third quarter. You feel you absolutely have to take a chance. And it failed, and then it's 21-3. But when you think of the bad defense, okay, they gave up a couple of touchdowns in the beginning, played poorly. That third touchdown for Green Bay to go up 21-3, they got the ball on the Bears, 32-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't fault the defense that much. And I know, Brian, you in the group chat put down the Bears defense was garbage or something to that effect. Well, they certainly, maybe they changed your opinion because they certainly showed up from that point on. And the odd part about it, Green Bay took chances late in the game. They didn't just sit on their lead. They didn't get overly conservative. Jordan Love tried to throw the ball, but for whatever reason, they just couldn't get a play, to finish things off. And Bears was struggling, but they hung around, and then they had that spurt. And I can analyze particular plays, particular segments, but I'll just finish off with what I said in the beginning. The NFL is about finishing games off. When you have your opponent basically finished the way the Packers had the Bears beaten, just put the final nail in their coffin, and they didn't do it. And they gave the Bears an opening, and the Bears took it and went on their spurt. And kudos to Caleb Williams. He's very erratic at times, but he shows levels of greatness as well, and he showed up in the big spots yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Sonia, what was your opinion on this game?
So I'm gonna be honest, the first quarter I was still grieving, so I just had it turned on 0. I wasn't even watching it, but I did tune in right at the half and watch the rest of the game. I did think that this game was a wrap, but you got to think about Chicago has had 6 comeback wins this season. Like, they have literally started to call them the cardiac bears, because Chicago fans are just like, they never know when they are gonna be out. Like, it's just so exciting, and to non-Bears fan, like, not exciting for us. But I'm glad they eliminated Green Bay. I'm glad, And because I feel like Chicago is one of these teams that has not been there in a while either. I don't agree. I think someone had the nerve in the announcements to compare them to the 85 Bears. They're not there yet, but Caleb Williams has had a huge maturation as leader of that team. You know, we've looked at that team and seen questionable years as to whether Caleb will still even be there for the long haul, because he's just had a lot of more ebbs than flows, I guess, or more flows than ebbs. I don't know how you say it, but at the end of the day, to come back in the fourth quarter, they were comparing them. There was a team in the 1940s that had a similar comeback win. And this was the comparison that was made as far as them being down 21-3 is a huge deficit to come back at halftime. And they just kept, you know, how do you take down an elephant one bite at a time? They literally just kept biting until they came all the way back. Kudos to Ben Johnson. I mean, you had to think that him coming from Detroit and the way he had led Detroit, that success would have to carry on to the team he went to. And we saw it. I mean, it came very quickly. First season there, kudos to him. And I know, B, you probably don't like that with it being especially a division rival, but I think that the Bears are for real. I actually had said that they would be one of the finalists in the NFC battle here. And so here we are seeing it now. I don't know what it's going to take for, you know, everyone to basically take them seriously. I don't know, because, you know, Green Bay hasn't had the most spectacular season themselves, but hopefully seeing this type of rally, you know, it will give a little bit of confidence to Bears fans and to anyone who may be a little bit, you know, skeptical to root for them or, you know, look at them as being valid teams in the playoffs.
What you got, James?
Everybody here said a lot of great stuff in regards to the game. So there's not much I can really cover, but I mean, by all intents and purposes, if you're someone that's in Jordan Love that throws for 23 yards, 4 TDs, and you're up by 21, the 3 at the half, you should be winning the game. You should be winning the game. I think it's a complete meltdown from Green Bay Packers point of view. There's no way you should be allowing a team to come back like that. Now, mind you, Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams on the other side. I get it. I mean, 4th and 4 in the fourth quarter. And Caleb Williams looks like the USC Heisman Trophy winner, Caleb Williams, throwing that pass to Roma Dunze for 18 yards and to get that first down and keep the drive alive. It's just, you got to stop that. If you're, like Jack said, regarding Carolina, if you're playing defense and you're trying to win a playoff game, it's 4th and 4. You can't allow that to even happen. And this is where Micah Parsons come in. You're not having him on the field to stop that. That played a big role, like you said, B, in regards to the other guy that was feeding off Micah Parsons. I forgot his name. What's the guy? Yeah, he was a no-show. And so, and kudos to Chicago. I mean, 25 points in the fourth quarter. That's unreal. That's just unreal. And I give credit to both Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, and my man having his career high in Colston Loveland. Colston Loveland had 137 yards, man. And again, this game it wasn't a walk-off. It was close to it, just like the last game they played when Caleb Williams threw a 42-yard dime in overtime to DJ Moore. But kind of similar. He threw a 25-yard busted coverage. That coverage was a bust. And if you watch it, I mean, he walked into the end zone by himself. And so, yeah, I like Chicago, but they got to fix some things if they're going to try to proceed into you can't just come in and try to be Captain Comeback in the fourth quarter every game against 25 points. Like I said, if the 49ers beat the Eagles, then they got to face the Rams. And I don't know if they could do this with like they did against Green Bay to the Rams.
You know what? No, James, you know what no one's talking about this morning? The Packer kicking game. 4 points, missing a very makeable field goal, missing an extra point. That's 4 points right there that they should have had. And that's the difference.
Odunze coming back. You guys said by him being back, he would be a difference maker. And he really was. Like, he really was. I had him on my fantasy last year, and yeah.
Can I just question a little the coaching? Had the Packers scored at the end of the game, the Bears are going with a 3-man pass rush. And on the last play of the game, Jordan Love has forever. He finally got rid of the ball because he was so tired of holding the ball, it seemed. He was like taking forever. No one was getting open. He could have even bought more time. I hate that 3-man pass rush at the end of the game. I just don't like it. The whole idea, you want to put pressure on the quarterback, get him to release the ball sooner than he wants. And it just took forever.
It was effective.
I don't like. No, it wasn't. Well, it was effective because no one got open for Green Bay at the end. I kind of understand it from that angle, but Jordan Love had forever with the ball, to sit down, and it just takes one guy for a split second to make a move and get open, and I just don't like it. I hate these commentators who second guess after the fact. They don't tell you beforehand, but after something fails, like they tell you like they knew all along. I mean, even though it worked for Chicago, hypothetically at the end, I'll say now I didn't like that 3-man pass rush. I never do.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something about Jordan Love. Now, on that last play, just to get up to that, this game was not Jordan Love's fault. It was the defense that did not do their job. Jordan Love threw for 323 yards and 4 touchdowns. That dude was doing his job. Until the last play of the game that Jack mentioned. I was watching that same play behind him, how they did the play behind him on all those seconds that he had. There was a receiver that came open, and he didn't have no pass rush in his face, and he didn't see him. You have to be scanning the whole field. I know it's a lot, but that's where good quarterbacks and elite quarterbacks are different. The difference makers in there. And Jordan Love has a habit of doing that sometimes. And they could have probably won the game. But, I mean, if the defense didn't put them in those situations, again, Devontae Wyatt wasn't in the game either, defensive tackle for the Green Bay Packers. So that was another person who could have made an impact on that defense for Green Bay. But, yeah, I just think that Chicago that defense, they can't come out like that. They come back out to the next team, whoever they play, they're not going to finish that game like they did Green Bay. Green Bay is just in a bad position right now.
But just something about Caleb Williams. I don't know everyone else's thoughts. He's the one quarterback in the NFL who can go out and win you and lose you a game at the same time, more so than anyone else. Yeah. I mean, he at his best is as good as any quarterback in the NFL. And then when he's bad, he's as bad as anyone. I mean, he's an enigma in that way.
Yeah, he had two interceptions in that game. And one of those interceptions was completely bad. I was like, who are you throwing that to, dude? Do you want Green Bay to have the ball? Is this what we're doing now? But, yeah, he threw two interceptions. One was real bad. The other ones, I think, was a tipped pass that was intercepted. But, I mean, he played pretty well, too. He had 361 yards and 2 touchdowns. So let's give him a little bit of credit. And, his feet bought him some time in a lot of situations to find Nduze. One good play where Nduze was streaking down the sidelines and he got out of a sack, basically, and just winged it. And I mean, that accuracy was there. I was like, whoa, that dude threw a hell of a pass. So, I mean, Caleb is still a work in progress, just like Bryce Young is. And they're on a good trajectory. I think Caleb Williams is a really good quarterback. He'll be better in that division. That division is going to refine him because every team in that division is good. So go ahead, Sonia.
I have a question now because I was reading a couple of articles and I wanted y'all's opinion on here. Now that Green Bay has been eliminated, there was, some talks. There's been a lot of firings of coaches this week, the last couple of weeks or whatever. And so there was a few credible articles that were out there that people were speaking of, if Green Bay had been eliminated, possible, Matt LaFleur's job may be in jeopardy. Jack, I really want to know what you think on this. Because I don't know what to think. I don't really have a dog in the fight, but it kind of shocked me to hear people talking about that. But I know Green Bay has not been, like I said earlier, the Green Bay we know as of past.
Yeah, what I find interesting and what always annoys me, Sonia, is when a coach has time left on his contract, he's considered a lame duck if he has 1 year left. Why? He signed the contract. Let him fulfill it. Let Matt LaFleur coach the 1 more year. Then he becomes a free agent. Either you extend him or he's a free agent. And why is 1 year a lame duck? We see coaches with more than 1 year left on their contract getting fired. Look at all the money the Raiders own their coaches. And why would you want to fire Matt LaFleur with all the success he's had? Okay, he hasn't gotten to a Super Bowl, but the Packers are relevant year after year. I mean, who's out there that's going to make you better? Are they going to get Vince Lombardi, to come back from the grave and coach the Packers? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get all this.
I guess after the Harbaugh firing, I'm not surprised at anything.
I mean, they're going to recycle one of the other coaches who's gotten fired.
Yeah.
And they're playing musical chairs. I mean, even the coaches that are appealing, the two best candidates now, we'd agree, are John Harbaugh and Kevin Stefanski. Look at the seasons they're coming off. They just got fired from their jobs, and then all this great demand. You got Matt LaFleur. If Matt LaFleur gets fired, he's going to get one of those jobs. I think we all agree on that. So if he's going to get one of those other jobs so easily, why would you want to give up what you have if you're the Packers? I mean, he hasn't lost control of the locker room. But what I find interesting, I want everyone's opinion on this. Lamar Jackson was criticized for not backing John Harbaugh immediately after they lost. Yep. He said, look, I'm devastated. I can't think of that now. And that's a viable explanation. But they asked Jordan Love the same thing, and he had to be every bit as devastated as Lamar Jackson. And he said he absolutely wants, Matt LaFleur back. He's a great coach. He spoke to it immediately after. What's your take on all that?
Well, let me just point out there, 8 hours before the Chicago Green Bay game, the Packers did plan on talking to LaFleur an extension talks after the game, or after their season. Not that they knew the season was going to then, but those are talks. At least they're open to making an extension to Green Bay. I'm not saying it's going to happen. He might get fired, but I just don't. And like Jack says, I just don't see that happening. Green Bay has a really good rapport as far as the players are concerned with LaFleur, and he knows how to run that team. He's not a bad coach. Gets on my nerves, but he's not a bad coach, and he's kind of like I feel he's kind of like the Sirianni. He's a really good coach that people don't consider him a really good coach because of the things that they do on their teams, but at the same time, and they cry a lot about stuff. Something that somebody said about, I think he said about John Harbaugh on the sidelines. But other than that, he's a real good coach. Hell, he's had them competitive in that division with all the turnover that's been going on in that division. He's had them competitive in that division all that time. So, I wouldn't get rid of him, but I'm not management. So,
for me, let me say something. Let me add in my 2 cents. Matt LaFleur, if he were to get fired right now, it'd be a lateral move. If you take one or the other, and to me, of the coaches that are out there right now, I think he's still better considering the talent that he has. To me, some of those other teams, now Stefanski, there wasn't much talent there at all, except defensively. But offensively, there's not a great amount of talent. But you can't name me a Pro Bowl receiver that's on the Green Bay Packers offense, or you got Josh Jacobs, but yeah, it's okay. I think he does I think with what he has, he maximizes and give them optimal. He gives them good results it was great when Rodgers was there. You know, they got to NFC championships twice, two years in a row, I believe. They just couldn't get over that hump when Rodgers was there. But with that said, I don't see anybody in the coaching pool that can come in there and do better than what he's done there. And so they'd be foolish to get rid of a coach there, which they rarely fire coaches there too as well. I think if you're winning, so they're winning right now. They just hadn't got to the Super Bowl. And my question is, can they get there with Jordan Love? You always got to look at the quarterback and see, because the scheme is there. The offensive scheme is there. Can Jordan Love get them to, and if Micah Parsons not hurt, are we speaking differently right now? If are we talking differently about Chicago? Are we talking differently about Green Bay? Are they moving on? We don't know. That's just what it is.
I mean, it's just one of those situations that we hear this all the time, and you see a lack of patience. I mean, I get these people are making millions of dollars, but look at all the coaches that were fired in less than 3 years. It's a win now mentality. And as soon as you're not winning now, no matter what your tenure is with your team, it's off with your head. And I mean, like I said, once I saw the situation in Baltimore unfold, I was like, okay, all bets are off for anybody. And especially with me having, the experience I've had with the really bad valley period with Carolina. We went through 6 coaches in 3 years. Y'all, that's a lot. That is a lot. You're never giving anyone an acclimation period. And so hopefully, like Jack said, you should not automatically, you give people a certain amount of time on a contract for a reason. That contract is valid until that time is up. If you're talking about negotiations, that's one thing. But someone getting into the postseason or even putting in the work that they have so far and then having a major injury with Parsons, you got to look at the players you have, the injuries they have, and their ability to play what you have as far as your coaching. And if you have 1 year, play it out. Play it out. 6 months left for your contract, discuss it. You shouldn't be saying before a playoff game, oh, if they don't win, he's out of here. That time, he's still going to get paid. Let's be clear. If they decide, okay, today or tomorrow, you know what, deuces to LaFleur, he's still going to get paid out regardless. So why even put it out there? It's just media hype. It's something to be negative. And, hopefully, just that it's just a flick on the wall or whatever. Because like it said, if you're not going to pay somebody 4 years, give them a 3-year contract and then say the 3rd year is negotiable. Make it like a option contract like you do with players. That's how you do that. You don't say all of a sudden, oh, if they don't win this, that, and the third. Hey, Keith, hope you feel better.
Yeah. Hey, Keith. Yeah. I mean, Keith is resting up for the Patriot Charger game. So, I mean, he's gathering all his strength.
Well, he's supposed to be on my show. You
put it really well, Sonia. You sign a coach for X amount of time. If just because he has 1 year left on his contract, he's not a lame duck.
Right.
He could have 4 years left on his contract and his job could be in danger. The players aren't thinking, oh, the coach could be a lame duck. They're worrying about themselves.
Right.
Their own status. They're not worrying about the coach's status. It's a whole media thing that's, built up. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in a couple of days. If a big if, underline word if the Steelers lose to Houston and they lose decisively at home, we're going to hear about Mike Tomlin as his job in danger. And there hasn't been a more successful coach the last 20, there has been an Andy Reid, but he's been one of the more successful coaches of all time, Mike Tomlin. And why would you want to move on from a Mike Tomlin if he wants to stay on the job and all he does is give you winning seasons? Well, we're going to hear that. They have Andy Reid. They're starting to push him out the door. Oh, is Andy Reid going to be back? Is he going to coach? Andy Reid never said he didn't want to come back. He never hinted at retiring. Nick Sirianni's job, he's on the hot seat, supposedly. If the Eagles lose, they're not going to lose to the 49ers. The 49ers are emotionally drained. But if they lose in their next playoff game, okay, they keep playing, wait a second, the Eagles will be playing the Bears. And if they lose at Chicago, we're going to hear about Nick Sirianni should go. The fan base is upset. I don't get the logic. This world is crazy. Aaron Glenn might be the most secure coach in the NFL for the Jets. I mean, the world's gone crazy. I mean, come on. He's secure. These other coaches with success aren't.
You got to put it into the side. You just said it, media. You know, media is going to make a big deal out of nothing. There's no way Mike Tomlin is going to get fired from Pittsburgh. He's either going to walk away or he's going to retire. Basically, they're not getting rid of him. They've never gotten rid of a coach. I think since '65 they haven't fired a head coach. So no, that's not going to happen. Second of all, as far as Sirianni is concerned, that's another media hype thing. That's well, the fans think you know what the fans. They don't. Half of them don't know nothing about football anyway. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. Sirianni is a good coach. He's a get on your nerves type of coach, but he's a good coach. Same thing with Andy Reid. Andy Reid's not going nowhere either. The dude's been in so many Super Bowls, won so many Super Bowls with that team. He could do whatever he wants to do. You know what I'm saying? At this point in his time, I don't buy into that media flat BS because they don't know what they're talking about. They're just trying to hype up something to get drama going.
I'll just say this in regards to the statement about Andy Reid. One of the greatest coaches in the history of the game, not just in our era, in the history of the game. He's shown it by what he's done with the Eagles when he was with them, and then of course when he got to Kansas City, what he's doing with them now. If my recollection serves me correctly, history shows me that every empire has its rise and it has its fall. I'm not saying that they're on the way out, but you got to give them time. You got to get. They had a bad season. They hadn't been to the playoffs with them, I think, since when Mahomes first got there or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, pump the brakes. I think people are impatient and people want, and there's goofy takes. People want to put shock takes out there and goofy takes, and no one's impatient. No one's patient anymore. So we just got to wait and see. But Andy Reid is fine, like you both said. Everybody alluded to. Unless if he wants to retire, that's on him. Let him be. He can go off into the sunset with his ring shining and blinding everybody in their face. It's because he deserves that. But if he wants to coach, you let him. You let him. If he wants to do whatever he wants to do there, you let him. Because the evidence is the proof is in the pudding. And they are dominant. They just need to revamp. That's it.
Public pressure plays a big role in things. Even with owners, take David Tepper, the Panther owner. I mean, he was really heavily criticized, and he's kind of backed off because he hears, all the negativity coming his way. I mean, some owners can meet it head on, like a Jerry Jones, who I guess loves it in a sense, loves the camera, whatever. And it happens when owners hear it about coaches, constant criticism. Finally, it kind of wears them down. And they just feel they have to make a change. They want to kind of shut out the noise.
That's true. Yeah, Tepper was losing money, and he came in with this vigilante mentality, firing coaches, firing anybody attached to Ron Rivera and the whole Cam Newton era. And kudos to that. It looks like they're trying to mend the relationship. Cam even said, Jack, that when he went to the stadium last year, his oldest son, Chosen, who's almost 10, there was no pictures of Cam in the stadium. And he was just like, Dad, where's your picture? Like, there was no mention of Cam in the whole freaking stadium. And so there's bad blood, but it looks like yesterday, that was the first step towards some type of reconciliation. But it was because Tepper came in with this, we're firing everybody connected to Ron Rivera. And he literally tried to clean from the coach all the way down. I know you guys remember like Kuechly and Olsen all stepped down around the same time, and it was just a lot going on. And it just kind of was just bad blood from there. Then they brought Steve Wilkes in as an interim and then didn't really give him an opportunity. It was just a lot of stuff in Carolina, and it's still kind of settling. But yesterday, And so like, not to make it about the Panthers, but just to kind of make a point. Sometimes playoffs and just bringing your fan base back towards a positive spot can kind of be a spot of reconciliation across the board.
That was nice seeing the Panther fan base. It was certain, kind of unified. You get that for any playoff home game, don't get me wrong, but it seems like there's positive momentum with the organization. There really is. So the Rams needed the game a little more because, like I said, the season would have been a total failure for the Rams had they lost. The Panthers take something out of this season positive, where the Rams would not have taken anything really positive out of the season had they lost.
Yeah, that's true.
And speaking of the rest of the playoff games for this weekend and Monday, the next game that's coming up is at 1 p.m. today. Buffalo Bills are going to Jacksonville to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars are favored by 1.5. This is going to be an interesting game. That bad, me and James talk about this bad rush defense for Buffalo a lot, to the point that we turn blue in the face just talking about it. Yeah. And Jacksonville is second in the league to Chicago in the turnover department. Turns you over a lot as well. That makes up for their lack of very good defense. Either they're a little bit better than Chicago in a defensive sense. They are, but at the same time, they're still playing that we'll turn you over role. This is the playoffs, though. And playoffs, teams that you play aren't going to always make the mistakes that you want them to make. And it's not going to happen that way. So, I kind of got a mixed feeling about this because I really don't. I'm not a person that believes in the Jaguars if they beat Buffalo. I don't even know if I believe in them if they beat Buffalo. I just don't know. But anyway, what do you have on this, James? Who do you think is going to be the victor in this game? Or,
I mentioned Friday the Jaguars, and I'm not veering from that. I just think that they're at home, and I think that this is the third 4,000-yard season of Trevor Lawrence. Believe it or not, he's career high in touchdown passes, 29, and I think Liam Cohen has a lot to do with that.
Yes.
Not only that, I think the addition of Jacoby Myers as well. I don't know if he's going to be playing this game or not. Is he? I think he should be. Yeah. I think he should be playing. He's playing. And if Brian Thomas Jr. can step up and be a good number 2 like he's been at LSU, I mean, I know he had an outstanding rookie season, but this year he sort of fell off with a lot of drops. Don't drop the ball. And Travis Etienne, the Buffalo has given up 150 yards 7 times this season. He's got an opportunity to eat here, and I think they control. My biggest thing here, though, is the last game I saw Josh Allen in, and it was a game where they were trying to win the game. Josh Allen looked like one of his wheels was bummed, his foot. And I'm not sure if that's a thing, something that we should be mindful to watch out for, because Josh Allen's game is predicated on him being able to run the ball as well. And he can do that. And I mean, he can light you up. He's got a big, powerful, strong arm, but he's not the all-time touchdown run quarterback of all time for nothing. So I mean, that's a big factor for their game. And James Cook is also a big part of that game as well. I just think, again, we're speaking on defensively from a standpoint with Buffalo, and whether or not they can stop the run, and how good it is Trevor Lawrence. Will he fizzle out? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to fizzle out. I think he's going to play dynamic, and they're going to win this game. And I think it'd be a little bit more than 1.5. Their spread is 1.5. I think they're going to win by like maybe 5 or 6 points. And I just think it's just time for there may be. And this is another game. If Buffalo loses the game, is it time for Sean McDermott to be out?
So you're picking who?
I'm picking the Jaguars.
And the Jaguars.
The upset.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And then the question is it time for Sean McDermott to be ousted because he's had all his talent? And I get what you're saying, Jack. I totally get it. I'm just saying, is the media going to be clamoring for somebody like him to be
James,
fired?
I
Because
thought you were too smart for that to join.
I don't think he should be
fired.
fired. I don't think he should be fired. I'm just saying, are they going to put it out there that, because again, you just mentioned they're going to be calling for Matt LaFleur's head sooner or later. Are they going to be doing the same thing? And it's been out there. It was put out there already. So
Put out there
we'll
last
see.
year.
Right, exactly. And I don't think he should be fired. It's a good team. I mean, they got good talent. They just need a few pieces probably maybe to shore up that defense and that run defense, and they still should be competitive. But I got the Jags here.
Who you got, Jack?
You know, it's a good thing. I was reminded again, it's important to do research on things, as tiny as the research might be. I was ready to say, because I'm in Delray Beach, where it's a high of 81 degrees today. And if a team coming from cold Buffalo had to play in that weather today, they would be at a disadvantage. And they are going to Florida, the Bills, Jacksonville. So I took a quick peek at the Jacksonville weather report. It's only a high of 65. That's going to be okay. So the heat's not going to have an effect on the Bills, but the Bill defense hasn't been good against the running game. They just don't have a tough defense all around. Their secondary hasn't been that bad, but there's a certain lack of toughness, you know, with this Bill team. And James brings up a great point. Something seems off with Josh Allen. He's getting the job done, but he just seems hurt. He seems to be playing wounded. And this playoff run is going to be brutal. You got to win 3 games to get to the Super Bowl. And getting to the Super Bowl in itself isn't quite enough for the Bills. They finally want to win their first one. As much as we look at Josh Allen being a Superman, I don't think he could carry him to like 4 games in a row against this type of competition at this point. And James Cook, you know, they're going to key on him. The Jacksonville defense. He doesn't have an elite receiver, Josh Allen, to throw to in particular. So it's him running the ball, James Cook running the ball, and their defense is going to have to step up. Trevor Lawrence has really finally come into his own. And, you know, Liam Cohn's done an outstanding job. And they're so well balanced, the Jacksonville Jags, on both sides of the ball. I mean, I see them winning this game, you know, as well. But it's going to, I see a high-scoring game, something like 33-30. And what we talked about earlier in this show, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a repeat discussion that one of the teams left too much time on the clock for the other one at the end of the game. I think this is going to, just like the 2 games yesterday with thrillers, this is going to be a thriller. I really would be surprised if it doesn't come down to the wire. I agree with James. I'm going with Jacksonville. You know, I'd like to throw a score out just for fun. Call it 33-30.
Who you got, Sonia?
So I have Jacksonville, but in looking back over the season, this was a season that we thought Josh Allen would flourish. I mean, especially when you look at the end of the season and see there's no Lamar Jackson and no Patrick Mahomes in the postseason. I'm a little disappointed that the Bills have not used that to be more advantageous in the playoffs. You know, there's always that nemesis, that foe, or even, you know, on the flip side, an ally that you just kind of always got to know that you're going to see them eye to eye across the field. And to see a team like Jacksonville emerge, I have to agree with James. This is another situation where an offensive coordinator went and took a head coaching job and took that team from the gutter on up. And to see Jacksonville start the season off, even the opener against the Panthers, I knew they were a different Jacksonville team just because of how offensively they looked on the field. With James Cook, I'm reminded of how Jonathan Taylor once looked when Indianapolis was on top of their game. They were both the league's top running backs, and now James Cook has taken that title on solidly. But Jacksonville has that number 1 run defense. Their ability to basically finish their drives and actually protect the ball is what this game is going to come down to. Because if you think about it, Josh Allen under pressure has not been a solid this season. I mean, we've seen him fall to teams that were performing on a definitely less than, and then we've seen him come out and play ball. So it's kind of been an up and down this entire season. And like y'all said, I'm just not as confident in them winning 4 games all the way to the door of the Super Bowl. That's a long 4 games. It's just like, oh, okay, it's 4 games. No, it's a hard fought, best of the best. And I just think that, Duval is on fire, and they are ready to prove that they have what it takes to get there. If they can keep Allen under pressure, that's going to be the key to force it over some turnovers. We've seen him. But then the Bills have a really good, strong passing game. So I think if you could keep Allen out of the air, that's going to be a limitation. And then Travis Etienne, you got to look at him, how solid he's been. Dalton Kincaid is another one. And then, of course, by Jacoby Myers playing today, that's going to be a close eye. But don't rule out Jacksonville's kicker, Cam Little. He has been a difference maker this season with nailing in some very big, long field goals. And so when you look at the overall picture, it may come down to just that if we're looking at one of these games that looks like yesterday's, or it could be basically that run game versus the defense. But it's going to be a thriller. I'm going to still call Jacksonville. I'm going to say this is probably going to be 27-33 for the final score.
Yeah, let's not forget something. The reason why they call Josh Allen Superman, well, at least that's the reason why the Bills Mafia does, is because he's actually had to be Superman. I mean, the defense has not helped him over the few years that he's been there, the years that he's been there, even in the playoffs. I don't give any of the credit that to their self-destruction in the playoffs to Josh Allen. He's been there. He's been getting the job done. His defense gives up on him. That's the problem. And this has been and this is one of the reasons why you got to kind of question the firing of Sean McDermott, because this has been going on for at least 4 or 5 years. Every time the Buffalo Bills get into the situation where they can go through a postseason, it's Patrick Mahomes. No, it's the lack of defense that they have. In every game that they've lost, basically, in the playoffs when it mattered, defense was a part of the problem. And this is something that Sean McDermott has to fix, or else Buffalo's never going to see a Super Bowl with Josh Allen in there. And Josh Allen's doing everything he can. Now, let me put this to this perspective. The Jacksonville is a passing team, and they go to their run. Their run sets up the pass sometimes, and sometimes it's the other way around. But Buffalo does have a good pass defense. They're top 10 in pass defense. So I see it coming down to the run game. It's all how Buffalo handles that run game. If they can handle the run game, then I mean it'll be a better game for Buffalo to win. Jacksonville, again, I told you their turnovers, they're second in the league for turnovers. As long as Josh Allen doesn't turn over the ball, or anybody for that matter on Buffalo, they should be fine there. Since their defense is not as good, better than Chicago's, that's for sure, but they're not as good as people are making them out to be. Joey Sunshine, that's what I call him. He's flourishing under the Liam Cohen system. I'll give him that. But he still does, if you watch games with him, he still does regress to certain plays. He kind of reminds me of Caleb Williams in his course of being a quarterback. He'll do all kinds of stuff really well, and then all of a sudden he'll make a pass. It's like, dude, I mean, a wild, weird pass or some kind of decision that'd be just like, dude, you've been doing this the whole game. Now you want to go dumb? But I don't know. If I can believe in Jacksonville, they got to do a lot to impress me. I am picking Buffalo in this game. Probably by that point, it'll probably be over, actually. And to Sonia's point about Cam Little, dude set the NFL mark for a field goal, longest field goal, 68. And he kicked a 67-yarder not too long ago either. So, I mean, the dude is, these kickers are starting to eat their Wheaties or something. I don't know what's going on, but they're just kicking the ball out of the stadium. So that's another weapon that Jacksonville has. You can never pin them back. You got to make sure that you're like 80 yards from the end zone, because these kickers are just booming them. But yeah, I got Buffalo. Our next game on the docket is San Francisco going to. Yep.
Excuse me, I'm putting a note in. I've got to run. But thanks so much for having me on, guys. Got to head over to church.
And you can be proud of your season with your Panthers, okay? All Panther fans can be proud of their team. But the division's going to be tougher next year because James' Saints are moving in the right direction. Good. Tampa Bay is going to be in the mix one way or the other. And the Atlanta Falcons will probably self-destruct, but they're going to enter the season as favorites.
Yeah, Tampa Bay cleaned house, so it's all on Todd Bowles next season. And thank you for that, Jack, because the Saints are the team I'm looking for next season to be very competitive against. But thanks for having me on, guys, and love you, Jack. Thanks for that. Y'all have a great day.
You
have a great day, Sonia.
Bye, guys.
So on that note, we'll go to the next game. San Francisco going to Philadelphia. Philadelphia's got a 6. Wow, they're favored by 6. Jack, who do you got on this one?
I mean, I don't see how this is a hard game to pick. The 49ers have got to be emotionally drained. Last week their season was basically on the line. They played it like a playoff game. They lost badly to Seattle. That would have gotten them the bye. They went all out the way they should have because it was a big game. When you're playing for the bye, the last game of the season, and you lose it, you're emotionally out of it the following week. I don't want to hear the players, they're ready, this and that. I saw it happen to the Patriots when they blew the bye against the Miami Dolphins years ago with Tom Brady. I mean, they get upset by the Dolphins, and then they have to play an extra game, and they wind up losing decisively and not the same team. I mean, Eagles rested their starters. They're ready for this game. They're at home. Brock Purdy's not going to take that team on his back and win in Philadelphia. I see the Eagles winning something like 37-16, that type of game. I don't look at it as being much of a contest. They go wild. Even A.J. Brown is happy. He catches a couple of touchdown passes. They're going to be a happy crowd in Philadelphia.
Okay. James, what do you got on that one?
Yeah, Jack, you're a brilliant guy and you come with some great takes, but sometimes you come with some of the most imaginative. What's that book that I read as a kid? Where the Wild Things Are. Your take is kind of in that land where the wild things are. There's no way that the 49ers, look, I get that you mentioned that they were beat down and they were fighting for the bye against the Seahawks. The Seahawks are healthy. The Seahawks are great, healthy in all facets of their game, offensively, defensively, special teams. They look good. 49ers have had multiple issues and they've gotten this far as it's like anything other than a miracle is how and excellent coaching. I mean, if somebody's got to get coach of the year, it's got to be Kyle Shanahan because he's brought them this far and he had them in contention for getting the bye. At some point, it's gonna wane. It's gonna come to a point where you can only do so much, especially when you're going to be matching up against a team like the Seahawks. That being said, I get it. They're traveling from Pacific to Atlantic, and they're playing the Eagles. But the Eagles haven't been on a great run by any stretch of the imagination. They look bad against some mediocre teams and against some good teams. They look like world beaters against the Raiders, but everybody looks like world beaters against the Raiders. I just don't think that you fix the dysfunction overnight. And there's dysfunction in the house of the Eagles. And I think the coaching, I like Sirianni, but I really like Kyle Shanahan. I really like Robert Saleh. I think they're going to go there and upset the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to go home. I think, yes, they didn't rest their players, but they're going to be upset and they're going to be mad that they got a beat down the way they took, and they're going to come out there and take it out on the Eagles. I like the 49ers to upset the Eagles at home.
Talk about fantasy land. Let me just say the mindset of the Philadelphia Eagles fans coming to their stadium today. It's not going to be on beating the 49ers. They complain about everything, Eagles fans. I wish Pax were here to hear this. They complain about everything. You know what they're going to be talking about before the game? Well, we shouldn't have rested our starters against the Commanders because now we have to go to Chicago next week to play the Bears. We could have had the game at home. So they're going to criticize Sirianni about that. I mean, the Eagles can look. I mean, no team should completely look ahead of an opponent. I get that. I'm 100%. But you can't. Your eye looks forward. Let's be honest about it. Some teams do look a little forward to what they have to do, and it's going to be on the Eagles' minds. They're going to Chicago next week, a place they can win at, absolutely. But this 49, Christian McCaffrey is still good. You could argue if you want that he's elite. I think he's lost a half step. They don't have the receiving cores the way they used to. Shanahan's done a phenomenal job. You know, and as much as I love Robert Saleh, I like him as Jet coach. I hated to see him go, okay? And I think he's going to be a good head coach. Some might even welcome him back to the Jets if they did something crazy like rehire him, which they won't, okay? His defense, he got outsmarted against Seattle. He didn't have one of his better games, okay? You know, and he's going against Vic Fangio there, so it's I get the coaching part, so on. I just think emotions in the NFL play such a huge role in things. You can't get up for games like that 2 weeks in a row. I mean, I just don't see the 40 because the 49ers are looking at their whole path. Well, if we win this game, players are human. They got to go to Seattle to play the next game. And they couldn't beat them at San Francisco. They lost soundly. That's in the back of their mind. Players look ahead no matter what they say. They could say all the politically correct things they want. They look ahead. What's our path to the Super Bowl? We got to win in Philadelphia. Then we got to win at Seattle. And then we got one more game after that. Then we're going to have to beat, the Eagle. We're going to have to go to Philadelphia, Chicago, and win there to get to the Super Bowl. Come on. But you're picking them to win. That's a gutty move. You got guts, James. You got guts. I mean, you're trying to make up
I have
all
guts,
your losses
sure.
with one break. And I compliment you for picking the Panthers. Yesterday they didn't win. I was tempted to do it. Said to me, that's not a loss. That's not a bad prediction because they nearly did it. I think even though the Panthers didn't win, I think your pick was more good than not, as it turned out. But with that said, I think you're going to let any little cachet you gained, you're going to be losing it with this crazy pick saying the 49ers.
Come on, you just said 37-16. That's one of the most outrageous scores you really think a Salah defense is going to give up 37 points?
I think the Eagles are primed. Their offense is just going to go wild with Jalen Hurts today. I just see their passing game going wild. I think Salah is going to really gear on stopping Saquon Barkley because figuring this is going to be a breakout game maybe for Saquon Barkley. Salah, so listen, even great defensive coaches, they have their bad games. I love Brian Flores with the Vikings, but he has bad games occasionally. It happens.
Jack, what are they putting in the water in Florida? Because that's 37-16. Ain't no way. The Philadelphia hasn't shown any inept signs of offense this whole season, but you're going to think they're going to beat them 37-16. They can't. Their offense is the problem, and San Francisco's defense is what got them to this point, even with all the injuries. Trent Williams is coming back for this game, so. You could talk all you want about CMC missing a step, and CMC basically is a top 3 running back in this league right now with a banged-up offensive line that they have. So, no, Philadelphia's not going to win this game because they're just not there's not the emotion that they have. And I'm going to tell you something. I'll give credit about Philadelphia about one thing. They haven't talked smack about San Francisco, because the last time they did that, San Francisco rolled in there and beat them to death. So I don't think Philadelphia's going to make that same mistake again. At least the players ain't going to make it like that, the same mistake again. But 6 points is way too much to be given Philadelphia in this situation. I think San Francisco, you all said they got beat down by Seattle, but Seattle is like the best team in the NFL, period. And they got a great defense, and it's, they only lost by 10 points. They lost like they lost 35-10 or something like that. They only lost by 10 points.
That was deceiving. That score was deceiving. Seattle was in full control of that game.
Yeah, and I mean, if you give it to Seattle, I mean, they didn't have a great game by Sam Darnold either, because of the defense. So they brought the defense. So I mean, I can't. No, I'm not buying any of this, because as long as the offense is not running through Pacello the way that it was running through Moore last year. It's not that good. I don't understand how you couldn't have that offense that good. All you got to do is rinse and repeat what they did last year. But I guess that's just the way offensive coordinators work sometimes. And I'm surprised that Sirianni hasn't said, look, dude, we were doing it this way last year and it worked for us fine. How come you're not doing the same thing? These are questions that fans ask, the reason why Sirianni is always on a hot seat, because the fans look at the same thing. So I don't see, I see San Francisco winning this. It's going to be a close game, of course, because you're playing in Philadelphia. You are playing the Super Bowl champions at this moment. So, I mean, it's going to be a good game. They're going to be playing for pride, obviously. Philadelphia is not going to want to bow out, obviously. They want to go back to the Super Bowl, especially with the teams in the AFC not looking, extremely competitive as far as what they used to look like last year. You don't have Patrick Mahomes. You don't have Lamar Jackson. So they feel like Josh Allen, this is a quick way to get in. But I just, no. I'm with James. I see San Francisco winning this one.
Okay, I'm not going to compare Jalen Hurts to other quarterbacks, but we all agree he's a pretty good quarterback on balance.
Yeah.
Do we agree on that? He's a good quarterback.
I agree. He's a good quarterback.
I mean, you can't say he's not. Come on, Brian, get off it. You got a lot of hate this morning. I think it's because of the bad packaging.
No, what I have is reality. The definition between reality and what you call hate.
No. I want to.
Jalen Hurts is good in the playoffs. He's good when he gets to the Super Bowl. That's for sure.
You're telling me the problem's the Eagle offense. Now think of all the teams in the NFL. At most, for the most part, I think if they have two weapons on offense, that's considered good. We're talking about the Bills a moment ago. They have one weapon, James Cook. That's it. One genuine weapon on offense. The Eagles have more weapons than anyone. 4 weapons. Saquon Barkley, Goddard, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. 4 big weapons that Jalen Hurts has. A lot of these teams, like I said, Josh Allen, 1 weapon there. I mean, the Rams have 2 weapons. Nuka and Adams. But when you think about the offense, they're primed for this, the Eagles. They are primed for this game.
Don't talk about the 49ers like there's some scrubs. I think George Kittle's probably one of the better tight ends in the game that's going to come there. And
weapons, basically.
And McCaffrey, look, Ricky Pearsall's no slouch himself. I don't know if he's playing or not.
He's okay, but I don't consider him a big-time weapon being in there.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, but again, with the team that you're talking about, they were on the verge of winning a bye, Jack. The same, you're talking about a team that was just
going to hurt them. You got it perfectly. You said it. They were on the verge, and when you don't do it, something goes out of you emotionally. If they were playing a weaker team, the 49ers,
they are playing a weaker team. Mentally, they are. The evidence is there. They weren't there the whole season on and off. Come on.
Had the
Come
Eagles
on.
wanted to, they would have beaten the Commanders had they played their starters. So they would have
Forget
had
no, don't go with the Commanders, man. Come on, they rested against the Commanders, but let's not erase and absolve them from the other games that they lost that were egregious. They were egregious, and they were talented. It's not like all these guys were hurt and sitting on the sideline. They were playing.
But
Yeah,
my
they got blown out by
co-host,
the
by the
Giants.
way, my co-host on Glovefist, Frank Laterzo, is a big football fan. He says the Eagles are locked to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, his lock is going to get broken.
I picked them to go to the. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl too. I picked the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl. I'm just not sold because they look like the team that they were in 2023. 2023, they look like that team.
Now we thought that could be the case, but they straightened out. The team in 2023 never straightened out at the end.
Hold up. What did they exactly straighten out? What did they straighten out in the last 4 games by playing some seriously defunct teams? The Vegas, they beat Vegas, and you call that they straightened out?
Let me tell you, if you have
a high school team can go in there and beat Vegas right now.
You're going to lose the teams if you haven't straightened out. The biggest collapse this season is arguably the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We could maybe agree on that, right? And they were losing to mediocre teams, late in the year. Games they should have won. Look, had they beaten the Miami Dolphins the week before, they would have won the division the week before.
But you can give them a little bit of credit in regards to the injuries. They sustained a lot of injuries. The talent was there in 23 with the Eagles, and they were just losing regardless. And it's the same this year. So I'm like you said, they beat the Raiders, but again, it's the Raiders. The Raiders are picking number 1 overall. So I just don't think you turn it on because there's a problem. And then there's there's a slight regression with the offensive line. They're not doing a tush push like they were as well successfully. So that was a part of their main success in 24 when they went to the Super Bowl. So I just think it's different. And the 49ers, again, I had the 49ers pegged at the bottom of their division at the beginning of the season. Mainly because of injury. And look what they've done with that. I just think that it should be. I should agree with you, Jack. If I had to look at it on paper, who's playing without knowing anything that's happened this season, I should be picking the Eagles. But I'm not going to because of what they've shown me. The evidence suggests that the 49ers have more heart. They have more heart.
James, you've started following baseball more this year. Okay?
Yes.
I'm going to give you an example. The Los Angeles Dodgers were heavy favorites to win the World Series again this past year. They weren't the best team during the regular season. They were kind of like the Philadelphia Eagles won football this year, and Brian will agree to that. They just won very good. But somehow they hung around come playoff time. They managed to get it done, even if just barely, at the end. And this is what this Eagle team kind of reminds me of. I'm not saying they're necessarily going to win the Super Bowl because the 2 teams I picked, and I've had a terrible season of picking. This has been my worst season of my life of predicting games. I don't know why anyone would even want my opinion based on how I picked. It's been dreadful. I mean, I would fire myself for making predictions. They talk about coaches being fired. I would fire myself. I'm the guy who picked the Ravens over the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. Neither made the playoffs. So take that for what it's worth. But I just feel now with what's left, I mean, like you said, on paper, the Eagles look really good on paper. But I got to feel they're ready. I got to feel that they're ready. They've been laying low. Now they know what counts. All people are going to remember how they finish up. And I think they peak towards that, of arresting their guys. They're raring to go.
Oh, the only problem I have with that comparison, which I get what you're saying about the Dodgers, arguably they have year in, year out the best player in baseball on their team. So he can come in and do some things. Do the Eagles have that?
On the Dodgers? Get out of here.
Come on, Shohei Ohtani, man. Come on.
Aaron Judge is the best player in baseball.
You're being a homer now. You're being a homer now.
Ohtani's a DH.
I said, but
We
still,
gotta debate.
arguably, I said,
debate question. Maybe let's save that for the debate.
That's a great one. But I said arguably. I didn't say he was the MVP this year. I said arguably one of the greatest year in, year out. He's one, even if he is a DH, he's one of the, and that not the bad DH. I mean, I would say that year in, year out, having that person on your team, you know you have an opportunity to win. Do you have that in the Eagles is my question. Can you answer that question? Is there somebody on that team that you can say, arguably, year in, year out, you're vying for being the best player in the NFL that can get you there and have you win? I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. Are you going to say it as the fourth?
Saquon Barkley's your answer. He hasn't had the greatest season, but he's going to be peaked and raring to go. And I find it hard to believe he slipped it all from last year. He hasn't performed the same way for whatever reason. Maybe it's the blocking. I don't know. But he's certainly shown enough flashes. But Saquon Barkley is a game changer type player. So there's your answer.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so you can flip that and say CMC is a game changing running back too.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to look at it like this, Jack. San Francisco is in a division that 3 of their top 4 teams are dominant right now, and all 3 of them are in the playoffs. Philadelphia is in a division that gets by, and then they got creamed by New York Giants. I mean, beat down by the Giants, and there wasn't talking about no injuries in that certain game. I mean, the Green Bay, Philadelphia has been lasting on some last-second heroics this season. And you know that most of the time that does not transition into playoffs, because if you're winning by 3 or 7 points at the end of the game, I mean, yeah, it's winning. But in the playoffs, everything goes out the window in the playoffs. And San Francisco's had a lot of injuries, and they still are 12-5. Philadelphia has one injury, and it's like their team kind of falls apart a little bit. I mean, the offensive line is not as good as it was last year. The offensive play calling is definitely nowhere where it was last year. So you put those two together, and the fact they're 11-6 in a division that they lost badly to one of their division rivals. I care about all that division talk. Sometimes you're just a better team than everybody in your division, period. You know what I'm saying? So Philadelphia should have showed me that. And they didn't show me that. So I cannot with all my heart say that Philadelphia is going to win this game. San Francisco is going to win this game. San Francisco's got too much to lose than Philadelphia. Why you're putting that on there. But anyway.
Jack, let me say this. Jack, if the Philadelphia Eagles win Monday morning, I'll be listening to the show where you can run me and Brian through the ringer. I'll be listening for it.
If the Eagles win by a field goal, I'll consider you to be more correct. You and Brian to be more correct than I was. How's that? The Eagles just squeak by. How's that?
So you're believing in moral victories?
They're going to win this. They'll win decisively, Philadelphia. This one, when all is said and done, Niners might hang tough, for a quarter and a half or whatever, but when all is said and done, it'll be a resounding Eagle victory.
Hey, speaking of that, Jack, how many points was Chicago supposed to win by Green Bay yesterday?
They won by 10, but they won the game. What did they win by 4? So, I mean, come on. It was a little deceiving. I said they won by 10. I wasn't
going to blow them out.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We got a couple other games to get to, and then the coaching carousel.
Yeah. You got the Chargers and going to the New England Patriots. Patriots are favored by 3.5. Keith, get better out there. We miss you, man. But this is his team. Who do you got there, James? Chargers or the Patriots?
I went through the schedule, and I looked at the Patriots schedule, and I saw that they played some really good games. Their record is a reflection of how to me, it's a reflection of the coaching. It's a reflection of the coaching, the talent at quarterback, and the addition of the rookie running back who's up for rookie of the year, and Travion Henderson. And they have a decent defense. But the teams above 500, the games that they won against them, they barely won those games. And so now we're in the playoffs. To me, the deciding factor in this game of going against the Chargers is going to be the experience of both coaches. It's going to be experience of both coaches. Vrabel versus Jim Harbaugh. To me, Jim Harbaugh is head and shoulders above Vrabel in regards to the coaching factor. I think him and his defense is going to play the game like a playoff team's supposed to play. They're going to keep that run game in check, and I like Stephon Diggs, I like Keyshawn Boutte, and I like who else they have on the receiving core. I'm not sure, I forgot, and I like Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson, and of course I love the quarterback and what he's done in his second year, and MVP candidate in Drake May. But I just think the lack of experience in most of them, in the majority, is going to show up. Is going against a seasoned coach and a pretty stout defense with Khalil Mack showing back up and company. Those and now there's no Bosa there. Forgive me. I just think they're going to hold them in check and they're going to squeak by and they're looking. Justin Herbert has been to 2 playoff games. He's 0-2. This will be number 3. I think he's going to be 1-2 in his playoff games. I think he's going to win this game in a very close one, and this is going to be an upset. Even though they're traveling again, another team traveling from the Pacific to the East Coast. I don't think it's an issue there. It might be cold there for sure, but I think that and I think Omari and Hampton is supposed to be playing as well. If they can run the ball, they'll do well against this team as well. But I like them by 3, Jack. I like an upset here. I like the Chargers winning this game.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion, but to say Harbaugh is head and shoulders above Grable, that's a bit extreme. I mean, I might even give the coaching edge to Grable. I mean, they're pretty even.
Explain to me why. Explain to me why.
Grable has pedigree. He had a degree of success there at New England. And I know Harbaugh took the 49ers to a Super Bowl, but he did struggle at Michigan for a while before winning the national championship. There was
you said it before winning the national championship.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Listen, they're both really good coaches, but look at what they've done this year. I could tell you that Grable is a coach of the year candidate and Harbaugh isn't this year. Okay. And Grable Harbaugh had a better team going into this year than Grable did. Yet Grable got more out of his team this year, actually, than Harbaugh did. Harbaugh did all right. I understand there were injuries, especially his offensive lineman, Amari.
It's not just Joe Alt. That whole offensive line was decimated.
Yeah, but they played like it at times. I mean, New England has had I don't want to argue the point. They're both outstanding coaches. I don't think the coaching is going to make a difference in this game. We could debate who's better. Otherwise, they're both top of the line, okay? And New England to lose this game, Herbert seems to be hurting a little bit. I think the Charger defense is going to show up. And they're going to make things tough for a while for New England. It's going to be, I think it's one of these games where New England finally in the second half pulls away. And they're going to win something like 27-13, but it's going to be closer than that until the end of the game. I think tough game for New England, but the way they're playing, I don't see them slipping up in this playoff game. They're completely focused here. And you mentioned a good point, coming from LA to the elements in New England. This is one of those cases where I think home field, could factor into it. You look at the Dolphins, all the years that they made the playoffs, they couldn't win in cold weather anywhere.
And Herbert's his injury is his non-throwing hand, is his left hand.
but it affects you. You have to take the snap from under
For
center.
sure.
So
Absolutely.
it affects you that way, yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with. Well, I'm gonna tell you this: if the Chargers lose this game, I think the Patriots have a very good shot of getting into the AFC Conference Finals, the championship, because Chargers are a very hard defense to play. Regardless, as they've had some hiccups during the season, that's basically due to their offensive line. But I'm gonna go with James in this one too, because it's a coaching thing. I mean, you talk about this team's coming from the West Coast to the East Coast, but you have Jim Harbaugh as a coach. That dude's a tough coach. He don't care about the elements. That's not his game. His game is we're going to take it to you for 60 minutes and see what you can do with that. And Vrabel's a great coach too. I'm not knocking him off because he was a great coach at Tennessee as well. But I just think that because of the things that Harbaugh has seen in pro football when he took San Francisco to the Super Bowl, in college when he took the Wolverines to the championship, he's got his second team in the NFL. They're being successful. They're more successful than they were last year. Got to give them that, without an offensive line and a rookie running back. You know, and they got a solid set of receivers too, but their defense is what they're hanging their hats on right now. And I'm gonna tell you something: that defense is no joke. So I think I'm gonna pick the Chargers in this one too, by 3. Sorry, Keith. I gotta see. Like I said, I'll believe in New England if they beat the Chargers. I will definitely believe in New England if they beat the Chargers. I definitely will. Because they've had a light schedule.
You want to know something, Brian? You keep saying all these teams, they have to keep doing things for you to believe in them. The Eagles win the Super Bowl and you still don't believe in them. I mean, come on.
That was last year.
You're very bitter
about this
the
year.
Detroit Lions not making the playoffs. I mean, I didn't know we had that side of you, Brian. You're really bitter about the Lions.
The Lions should have been in the playoffs this year.
I got
it just
over
didn't
the
happen.
Jets season. I accept that the Jets are awful. You could say it to my face, but come on, yeah.
Well, that's the Jets. We're talking about entirely different teams, man.
Well, we inherited your defensive coordinator from the Lions.
That's all right. He'll be good next year.
So, I mean,
He'll be good next year, and then you can start complaining about something else the Jets are doing wrong.
Okay.
Anyway.
Monday night's game.
Monday night's game. Yes, Monday night's game. We have the Houston Texans going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Texans are favored by 3 points in this game. Jack, what do you think about this game?
I think that Jack is owed a lot of apologies from people in the past, including my friend Sonia. Maybe she left early because she didn't want to apologize to me to get to this game. And I'm only kidding. She had something more important to do. But Aaron Rodgers, comeback player of the year. Why not? Why not? Comeback player of the year. Led the Steelers to a 10-7 record. That last game against the Ravens, the last 2 drives, he took them down the field for touchdowns. I mean, that was top of the line stuff to watch. And they're playing Houston. The question is this: which defense is going to be better? I mean, the Texans have, James uses the word like I do, arguably the best defense in the NFL. You could make that argument for the Texans. And DK Metcalf is back. Obviously, he's going to have a big game. If they shut him down, they're going to have problems because the Steelers just have a so-so running game. And I look for 20-16 type game. For the Steelers to win, their defense is really going to have to show up. And there were signs last week. TJ Watt came back from an injury, really played well, in that Raven game. And some other guys stepped up, and I think you're looking at a close game here and could go either way, but I'm going to tip it towards Houston to ultimately, I'm not saying on the last drive of the game, 20-16 or thereabouts. The defensive struggle for the most part.
What you got, James?
I thought I was going to agree with you, man. I thought we were going to both pick. You're heading in the direction. You're giving comeback player of the year to Aaron Rodgers, and which I disagree with. But I like the fact that he played well as a 40-something-year-old quarterback. But, I mean, if a field goal is made, by the Baltimore Ravens, we're not even talking about the Steelers right now. But so be it. You get in however you get in, and everybody's 0-0 right now. And I think the opportunity is there for the Steelers. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. This is Mike Tomlin's opportunity to try to bounce back as well. And DK Metcalf will be in this game, and I think he's going to be upset that he couldn't get the appeal to get those 2 games. I mean, probably more upset with himself. He's the one putting himself in that position. But he's going to come out and his hair's on fire as well. He's going to come out and play, and I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have opportunity to get him the ball. And I think the defense of the Steelers will show up a little bit to be able to slow down the run. There's only Woody Mark there. I don't like the run game of this season. They really missed Joe Mixon, and I don't know what happened to him to where he was out the whole season, but they missed him. And the passing game, C.J. Stroud, he can throw the ball, he can sling it. Nico Collins and Jaden Higgins and Noel, those kids, they're good. But I think it's gonna. I mean, who's I forgot the kid's name. He came out of Jacksonville and Los Angeles.
Christian Kirk.
No, the DB that used to play for Jacksonville, and he also played for
Jalen.
the LA Rams.
Jalen.
Yeah, Jalen. Yeah, he's gonna be up for this game too. He's got playoff experience. He got a Super Bowl win. I think the Steelers. I'm gonna pick them to win, and they're gonna win a close one, maybe by 2 or 3. But I think it's gonna be good enough to be able to be. And mind you, Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter are all pro for a reason. They made all pro this year. One first team and one second team. That bookend and Derek Stingley is all pro as well. So that defense is outstanding, Jack. Like you said, arguably one of the best defense in the league. I agree with you. But I think there's just something there for Aaron Rodgers and company to bounce back. I just have a gut feeling. That's all. I'm not saying there's any evidence to suggest that they should win dominantly or should win by 3. There's just something there for me. There's a gut feeling for this team to try to make a run.
Well, I'm sorry about your gut there, James. You might have to take something for that. Houston is. I'm just going Houston in this one. Pittsburgh has got nothing on this Houston defense. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be running for his life, and at the age that he is right now, it's going to be a slow run. We saw a play this year where he tried to run to the outside to get a first down. That dude couldn't even get there. So I just don't see. I don't see his escapability anymore. You mentioned Stingley. They got Lassiter out there in the secondary. They're going to cover, DK is going to have a meltdown in the second half because he's not going to be getting the ball. This is what he does. They don't have another reliable receiver to go to. I'm not, Darren is not, he's not the greatest receiver anymore, too. He's long in tooth. I don't know what their status is on their big tight end. That's a rookie. Darnell Washington. That dude is a beast. He is a beast. I give him that. That dude will truck everybody. He'll truck an entire team. That's a big guy. That'll be if he plays, that'll be a problem for their defense. But other than that, I just don't see this even. I'm not saying Houston's going to blow them out. By no means, I don't see that because their offense is not capable of that. And that's the only thing that I see that might trouble Houston is their offense. C.J. Stroud, he's a great quarterback. It's just that offensive line is malaligned a lot of times. It depends on how they play. They win a lot of these games. You ever notice that the offensive line is playing at the top of the game? When they lose a lot of these games, everybody's coming after C.J. Stroud. So, Nico Collins, he's a great receiver. They got Christian Kirk, as I mentioned before. They are going to be playing. We'll see how this offense goes this year. For this game. But I got too much faith in their defense right now. I just don't see Pittsburgh doing anything. Defense travels in the playoffs too. I'm just saying. So I got Houston by about 3 points. It could go 7. I don't know. I think 3 points though. That's the safe bet to me. Real quick on the coaching carousels here. I know for a fact that Mike McDaniel is going to be meeting with the Lions Monday. On Wednesday, he's going to Tennessee, and on Thursday, he's going to Cleveland. So that I know Mike McDaniel's schedule pretty well. So,
well, he's going to DC for the coordinator's job. He's going to the other places to interview for the head coaching job. Correct?
Not the Lions.
No, not
the Lions for the. No, I mean for the offensive coordinator's job.
Yeah, he's going to the offensive for the offensive coordinator to do our head coaching jobs.
As a head coach.
You got it.
And because
where's he going to interview our head coach?
Titans and Cleveland.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, he has the type of personality he might get hired. Now, with the Titans, I understood, we talked about this a while ago, Cam Ward wants to be in on the interviewing process. I wouldn't tolerate that if I'm a coach, that he's sitting there, Cam Ward, interviewing you. With some quarterbacks, I would. With Josh Allen, absolutely. He can be on the interview, and he could be in on the decision-making, Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes could be in on the decision-making. You know, Joe Burrow, certain guys I can select you, you know, who've been all in on the team. But I'm not going to tolerate a Cam Ward being in on the decision-making. I mean, who hasn't really proven himself yet. Potentially, he could be a good quarterback. There's absolutely no way he's sitting in on any meeting. He's going to be told who the coach is.
Come on, Jack.
The Titans feel that way.
Well, while we're at it, let Jackson Dart have a say for the Giants.
I'm just saying the team opted to allow him to do that. It's not like he vied for it. They opted to allow him to do that. They wanted him in.
And he's just an observer. He's not somebody that's going to say, "Oh, I want this offensive coordinator." That's not his decision. He's an observer.
You know what I would say, if you're not playing well and another quarterback is playing better, I'm going to go with the guy who gives me the best chance to win. You know, I'm going to tell him that at the meeting, and I'm going to say, "Look, Cam, we're probably going to get along great, but I really, you know, don't think you should be here at this meeting here." Okay. But
that'll get that interview canceled real quick.
Oh, that would get it. No. If you're a coach who has independence, okay, like John Harbaugh, Kevin Stefanski, I wouldn't tolerate that. If it's a coach who wants a job so badly, you put up with
that type of a coaching resume, though. That's the point.
You're telling me if you're a coach coming in, you don't want to talk to the guy that you're going to have under the helm and see where his head is at? If you're interviewing,
no, that's okay. You don't want that quarterback to have anything to do with the hiring of you, because now you're obligated to him because he got you the job, and you're thinking to yourself, "Wow, how can I sit this guy down? How can I not stick with him all the way because he got me the job?" You could have a situation where quarterback looks like he's a franchise guy, like Carson Wentz was a team, you know, with the Eagles for a while, and then his performance is faded, and the coach might stick with him longer than he should out of obligation.
If I'm the brass there, why would I want you as a head coach if you're going to let one little obstacle of like your quarterback sitting there get in the way of you wanting a job?
Well, let me put it another way. Cam Ward is not a slam dunk to be the Titan quarterback of the future. They're hoping.
I'm going to disagree with that. Have you been watching his games?
Wait. We're not talking Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Let him prove his worth more, and then you can go in that direction.
I'm just going to tell you, I saw some throws there. You say you had moments, but that offensive line is not all that great. The weapons that he had there is not all that great. And the running game is okay.
Great. And he wasn't all
you got to be. I get it. He's got some stuff to work on, but for what he had and what he's done as a rookie there, come on, man. He's done a really decent job.
Our quarterbacks are a production of what their team is. This is what I keep trying to tell everybody all the time. Patrick Mahomes has a great offensive coordinator in Dan Reed. He's got and he's got a great, pretty good offensive line. well, not this year, but he had a pretty good defense to follow with that. He's got great receivers, a tolerable running situation. And yes, you got to give some credit to Patrick Mahomes because he does different things that other quarterbacks don't do. But at the same time, it takes a team to win this. And Cam Ward is the pinnacle of that situation because he is a good quarterback. He needs people around him to be good.
And let me say this. Marshall Faulk was a running back of Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning still threw the most interceptions his rookie season in the league. So, but yet still, we understand how that story went. And if he was sitting in the interview process, I wouldn't have a problem with it because I knew what he was in college.
Cam Ward is anywhere remotely close to Peyton Manning.
Come on, man. It doesn't matter. He threw the most interceptions in the league that year, his rookie year.
You can say that now, Jack.
No,
you're saying that now.
Comparing their college careers. Cam Ward
his college. You haven't done enough research. Cam Ward's college career was impeccable. It's outstanding, actually. Mm-hmm. The schools that he played for.
Overall choice, obviously, you have to show a lot, to get that.
You're talking out of both sides of your neck now. Then, if that's the case, I'm just saying. Come on, Jack. If you don't agree with the interview process, that's one thing.
How does this sound? Let the Raiders hold off on hiring a head coach till after the draft. Let them draft Fernando Mendoza and let Mendoza sit in on the meeting and give him his stamp of approval on the next Raider coach who he has to work with. Why don't we go there?
He hadn't played any down.
But Cam Ward wasn't successful with Tennessee this year. I don't blame him. He wasn't.
Tennessee wasn't successful in Tennessee.
I agree completely. Cam Ward might turn out to be a Hall of Fame quarterback, or he could turn out to be the next Kyler Murray. We don't know, yet with him.
Well, regardless of your opinion, Jack, and you're entitled to it. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. It's what Tennessee thinks is best for their team. And if Tennessee thinks that him being an observer in any of the coaching, hiring, things, hey, that's what they do. That's what they want to do. So, I mean, I can't fault them for that. I don't blame them for that. If they fall on their face in this process with the coach, then I might have to question that. But you can't question something until it's done and it's moving forward.
And honestly, Jack, they could have said no. You say yes. They could have said no. And yet they must see something.
They should have.
But regardless, they must see something in him. They must see something in him to say that they said yes. I'm just saying that's my point.
Okay, they're buying all. And just for the record, if it was the offensive coordinator who the head coach was going to hire, I would want Cam Ward in on the meeting with the offensive coordinator to be sure that they were on the same page.
Okay, I mean that's fair too.
Yeah,
I mean everything is all fair. So I mean, like I said, unless they fall flat in their face in a coaching search with Cam Ward being the observer, then you can't really say anything about it until it happens. Everything is, future reference. So it is what it is. I just don't see. I don't see that McDaniels is gonna. McDaniels might get the offense going with Tennessee, but again, he's an offensive coordinator. He's offensive minded. So Cleveland is another one. Now Cleveland, it might be a better fit because he's got a good defensive coordinator on that side. So that might be a better fit for him, although I would never want to go to Cleveland if I was a coach. But it is what it is. You got to have a job at the end of the year somewhere. So, and in Washington, by the way, they hired David Blau as their offensive coordinator. So he's going to be their their offensive coordinator for next year. Jim Harbaugh saying that if you want my services, you're going to have to pay me $20 million a year. That's what he said. That's a do with some confidence.
Well, from what I understood, he got $17 million from the Ravens. That's kind of high. I wouldn't get, as far as Harbaugh goes, we're not talking about the short list of great coaches. I don't know, do any even exist in the NFL? Once in a while, you get a coach who's incredible. Is Harbaugh really a better coach right now than his brother even? Is he a better coach than Mike Grable, who we're talking about? Is he better than Andy Reid? I know I'm naming great coaches. Is he more along the lines of Matt LaFleur right now? Is he better than Shanahan? You know,
I'm going to have to.
Other names. He's a very good coach, but I don't think he's the type of coach where you give him anything he wants. You know, oh, we just want to get this guy, we'll give him the farm. I don't quite think that.
Look, let me say this. I'm always a person about evidence. Evidence, it trumps everything. Whether however you feel or however you might think you know. I mean, when there's stuff written out and you laid out a path and you showed me success on paper that you won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco, you've had good defenses, and you've had sustained success. With Lamar Jackson at the helm, and okay defense. I mean, the defense is nowhere near what it was in 2000 and nowhere near what it was when they won their last Super Bowl. But with that being said, I think most of that is based off of him being the head coach as well. I mean, you can't argue that. I mean, he's not an offensive innovator. I would say, I think he's good as he was a special teams coach. He was a special teams coach before he got into head coaching. And so, but you put good people around him, I mean, he can have great success. I don't know if it's a situation where you blame Lamar or blame him that they couldn't get over the hump. I don't know in regards to getting to the Super Bowl. This year was just a wash. It was just a disappointment. You and I, Jack,
coach. No, James, we agree. He's a wonderful coach. I'd want to hire him if I'm the Giants. I allow him to be in control of the personnel. I don't keep Joe Shine, the GM. I wouldn't make any coach answer to Joe Shine at this point. He's lucky he has a job with the Giants. He's been dreadful. But I absolutely would hire him. But sometimes the demands are so great that the coach wants everything to the point. I mean, how many coaches do you give that to? So once in a while you do. You give it to a Jim Harbaugh, his brother coming out of Michigan, I guess, to join your NFL team. You do it with a few. With John Harbaugh, do you do it? It's kind of iffy, but
would you put him in the same light as Sean Payton?
Sean Payton, I guess you do. Yeah. Close, maybe close.
I think the thing about John Harbaugh, is that you got that resume behind you, true enough, for the facts. But the last 3 years is what people see. And you're not as good as what your last 3 years is basically at. He's made some very questionable decisions. He does not know how to utilize the running game well. The playoffs have been a joke because he had Henry. Could have won a Super. They could have been in the Super Bowl last year. Yeah, you could say, well, dropping the pass in the end zone would have done something, but you wouldn't have been at that point if you were sticking with the run game. They lost to Kansas City because of that in the AFC Championship. You got to start doing stuff where you understand where your player and your personnel in. And Henry is too good of a running back just to sit there and sit out a whole fourth quarter, and then you lose, and you wonder why. Because you didn't run the dude. I mean, everybody, it's sitting out there as common sense. These are decisions that John Harbaugh has made to put him in the situation where he got fired from Baltimore in his last 3 or 4 years. And I think he's the best coach out of all the coaching candidates right now because he has that resume and he can get stuff done. But to say that, to compare him to other coaches in this league is kind of unfair. I would say that he's a capable coach. I'll put it to you that way. He's a capable coach. He'll get it done. If he goes to the Giants, they will definitely be a way better team than they were this year. But at the same time, got to watch his decision making. So that's the thing about Harbaugh. His decision making is not the greatest in the world. In his later years, in his earlier years, dude was spot on. But in his later years, he can't get the job done. Let's switch real quick because we've gotten over to NFL for like the last 2 hours. There's a national championship happening on Monday between the Miami Hurricanes and the Indiana Hoosiers. Miami is coming off of a impressive win over Ole Miss. One of the that Keith can tell you, and I can tell you, it was one of those games that you just like, wow. Miami beat Ole Miss 31-27. Last minute touchdown by Cam Ward running it in. Did a great job.
Not Cam Ward.
I mean, not Cam Ward. I'm thinking of the other guy.
Carson Beck, yes.
Carson Beck. I'm thinking of last year, Miami. Anyway, yeah. So Carson Beck did a hell of a job and ran it in for a touchdown. I mean, this game was back and forth. I don't know if you guys. I don't think did we ever pick on these teams? Because I don't think we ever picked on these teams.
Yeah, I mean, but just a prediction for this game. I'm going to tell you, there's an X factor involved. I'm so high on Trinidad Chambliss, what he did with Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and yet Ole Miss lost the game. If Fernando Mendoza comes up with the same type of game, I mean, Indiana's known for their defense primarily. Mendoza gets the headlines, but it's the Indiana defense, that's been the main part of the team this year. It could be a tough game, but I don't see Indiana losing it at this point. They've come too far, and they're just a little better. And Carson Beck, despite the game-winning drive from Miami, in which he, helped win them the game, he's not quite that quarterback in college. So I'm going to go with a fairly low-scoring game for college. I mean, 24-14 Indiana.
And let's just go over that Indiana-Oregon game too. After the first quarter, this game was really not in any doubt for who was going to win it. Indiana wins 56-22. One of the first passes that Dante Moore throws is return for a pick six. Oregon fumbles 2 times within their own, in their own territory, which Indiana cashed in for touchdowns. Their defense is just. They're playing at a different level, and their defense is good. They are known for their offense, but their defense is good. But they played at a different level. Yes, the last game they played against Oregon. So I just think right now Indiana is just at the mountaintop. I like Miami. Miami's done a lot of stuff. I mean, nobody saw Miami to this point. Just the fact that they beat Ohio State was something, but they beat Ole Miss too. I mean, it's going to be a good game, because you got to go against that defensive end front for Miami. They're going to be charging. I just think that Mendoza's the better quarterback, and the better quarterback is going to guide their team to a win, and Mendoza's going to win this game. I just think it's going to be tougher, though. It's not going to be no 56-22 game, that's for sure. If it is, Indiana, man, they'll be really
well. The game's in 8 days, so we got time on that game. It's a little ways off. It feels like it's going to take place Monday night, but the NFL is still going on that date
too. Yeah, so it's going to bump into that, but hey, it is what it is. I'll be watching that
going
game
back
in Houston. So
going back to the Oregon Indiana game, I think this is a game that exposed that lack of experience in Dante Moore. He's only started 20 games. I think people don't really understand that. And that's, to me, that suggests, on a sour note, he's probably going to come back. Probably going to come back to Oregon and play again next season.
that would be best.
Yeah, in my opinion. But with that being said, that offense and defense, they're a complete team of Indiana. If you look at them, they came out of nowhere. They're 25-2 under Kurt. Forgive me, I don't want to say his name wrong. How you say his last name?
Siri. What is his name?
I have a hard time pronouncing it.
Yeah. There you go. Kurt C. I'm just gonna say. Yeah. Anyway, they came out of nowhere. The team is super talented. They have a high NIL amount of money that they're sharing, with the players. A lot of these players are going to be gone next year, but I see them taking Miami. Miami is a Cinderella team. Let's just get that out the way. They are a Cinderella team. Nobody expected them to be where they are at this point, and I think they far exceeded expectations of where they're supposed to be. Now they're going to meet a stalwart. They're going to meet a team that eliminated Alabama. Not saying Alabama's great. They're not the Nick Saban Alabama, but they still another team that was in the playoffs, and they made mincemeat of them. Oregon, up to this point, they didn't play anybody like that. I mean, they played really good teams, and they played well against good teams. But you got up against this team, man, and 35 to 3 at the halftime, crazy. It's outrageous, and so to me, this team reminds me of the '95 Nebraska team. If you remember how dominant they were just putting up points on everybody. They kind of look like that. That's just how they beating really good teams and beating them up. LSU, 2019, when they were putting up points on everybody. Like, I mean, they when they were in the playoffs, they beat Georgia pretty bad. They beat Clemson pretty bad when they only had a four-game playoff team. So Indiana kind of looks like that, and I just don't think Miami's going to have enough. They're not going to have enough to be able to sustain any type of offense and garner points. Because, I mean, Malachi Toney, the true freshman, is awesome. Fletcher, the running back, is awesome. Carson Beck, he can be streaky, but he's been playing good in the playoffs. I just don't think they're going to have enough against them. I think Indiana's going to beat the brakes off of them too. I'll be honest with you.
Any rebuttal?
Well, I've been watching these playoffs with a little more interest as far as the draft goes, the quarterbacks, and the Jets have been open about it too. It could influence their decision. Dante Moore stock dropped. People were thinking in terms of Jets go second overall in the draft. Everyone has Mendoza going to the Raiders at this point. Unless Mendoza completely implodes in the championship game, throws 4 interceptions or whatever, he's gone number 1 to the Raiders. And, and I'm on pins and needles because the Jets absolutely should take Trinidad Chambliss. But the danger is if you don't take him number 2 overall and you try to get a little cute thinking he's available at 16 and the Arizona Cardinals see what I see and they leapfrog ahead of the Jets and they take him, I don't want to say I'd be stuck with Dante Moore, but his status went down. If he's available when you're picking where the Jets on the second round, 33rd overall, and then 44th again, yeah, you could take him in one of those slots. But there's no reason to. You have Trinidad Chambliss at number 2. I don't care if his value is number 28 going into the draft. Get your guy when you can, okay? And I would hold everyone accountable. This is where owners should get involved, guys. There's no reason why you can't overrule your scouting department once in a while. Even Jerry Jones, who you guys like to joke about a little bit, he was talked out of taking Randy Moss. And that's why he took Des Bryant late on. He badly wanted Randy Moss, and all his people argued against it. But in all fairness, he was argued out of taking Johnny Manziel for, Zach Martin, and we saw how that turned out as well, to be fair. But once in a while, and if I listen to my scouting department, I'd say it's your rear ends on the line. If Trinidad Chambliss turns out to be a great quarterback right off the bat, he's the next Jaden Daniels, let's say, or Drake May, and you whiffed on this, you guys are going to be held accountable. Let me warn you on that. And you take it from there.
So who you got for
go ahead.
Well, who you got for Monday's game, Jack? You got Indiana or Miami?
Oh, well, that's an 8 days. I told you I got Indiana. I mean, how do you pick against? James and myself differ. I think Miami with their defense with Ruben Bain, and Tony maybe breaking a big play. It can keep it. I think they can keep it competitive and not get blown out.
Yeah,
okay, I don't think Mendoza is just going to come out and do what he wants. And I think it's for college, even for the pros, something like 24-14 is going to be low scoring, but Indiana by about 10 points.
In that sense, I do agree with you. Miami has a really good secondary. They have a very
Yeah.
good secondary, but Indiana has not only a good receiving core, they got a two-headed monster in running backs and Hemby and Black. So it's going to be tough, man. It's really going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Indiana could win 51-17 when all is said and done. I wouldn't be shocked. I just think Miami, defensively, I don't think Indiana's walking all over them.
No, I don't either. On that note, we will close today's show. Keith, get better out there. Sorry we picked against your Miami Hurricanes, but we are doing what we do. But you get better out there. We'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, on the Jack and Keith Weekend Playbook. And of course, Jack will be on with Frank at 7 p.m. tomorrow with the Gloved Fist. So keep it there. Keep it to our network. Watch these shows. Very informative. Jack is really good at the boxing. He is really good. Might not be so good at regular sports, but he's great at the boxing.
Frank doesn't let me talk boxing. He just wants to talk football to open up the show.
Yeah, him and his Philadelphia Eagle thing, whatever. But anyway, everybody have a great rest of your day. Watch these playoff games, national championships tomorrow. Have a great day.